If you are over 60 years old, I want you to listen very carefully to the next few seconds, because what I am about to tell you might completely change the way you think about your health. Most seniors today are taking 5, 6, sometimes even 10 different supplements every single day, believing that more vitamins mean better health. But here is the shocking truth. After the age of 60, your body does not need dozens of vitamins. In fact, taking too many can actually do more harm than good. According to many doctors and researchers, there are only 2 vitamins that truly become critical after 60, and if you understand why these 2 matter, how they work, and how to use them correctly, you can support your bones, your muscles, your heart, your brain, and even your immune system far more effectively than with a cabinet full of pills. So the real question is not, what supplements should I take? But, which 2 vitamins does my aging body actually need to stay strong, active, and independent? Let's talk about that in a clear, honest, and practical way. As we age, our bodies change in very important ways, and this is something many people do not fully understand. Digestion becomes less efficient. The skin produces fewer compounds from sunlight. The kidneys and liver process nutrients differently, and muscles and bones slowly lose strength if they are not supported properly. This means that the vitamin needs of a 30-year-old are not the same as the needs of a 60 or 70-year-old. One of the biggest mistakes seniors make is following generic supplement advice that is not designed for their stage of life. Doctors who specialize in aging and preventive medicine often agree that instead of chasing every new supplement trend, older adults should focus on correcting the most common and most dangerous deficiencies. And when you look at the research, again and again, 2 vitamins stand out as absolutely essential after 60. The first of these vitamins is vitamin D. Many doctors even call it less of a vitamin and more of a hormone, because of how powerful its effects are throughout the body. After 60, vitamin D becomes critically important for bone strength, muscle function, immune health, balance, and even mood. One of the main reasons seniors suffer fractures from simple falls is not just weak bones, but weak muscles and poor balance, and vitamin D plays a major role in all 3. The problem is that as we age, our skin becomes much less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight. A 70-year-old may produce only a fraction of the vitamin D that a 20-year-old produces from the same amount of sun exposure. On top of that, many older adults spend less time outdoors, use sunscreen more often, or live in areas where sunlight is limited for part of the year. When vitamin D levels are low, calcium cannot be absorbed properly, no matter how much calcium you consume. This means your bones slowly lose density, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and fractures. But the story does not end with bones. Low vitamin D has also been linked to muscle weakness, which makes everyday activities like climbing stairs, standing up from a chair, or even walking more difficult. It has also been associated with a higher risk of infections, because vitamin D plays a key role in regulating the immune system. Many doctors notice that seniors with low vitamin D tend to get sick more often and recover more slowly. Another important, but less talked about role of vitamin D is its connection to brain health and mood. Research has shown associations between low vitamin D levels and increased risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even memory problems in older adults. While vitamin D is not a cure for these conditions, maintaining healthy levels may help support overall brain function and emotional well-being. This is why many doctors routinely check vitamin D levels in patients over 60 and recommend supplementation when levels are low. Now, When it comes to vitamin D, more is not always better. This is a very important point. Some people assume that because vitamin D is beneficial, taking very high doses is a good idea. In reality, excessive vitamin D can cause problems, including high calcium levels in the blood, which may affect the kidneys and the heart. That is why doctors often recommend moderate, consistent supplementation rather than extreme doses. The exact amount can vary depending on individual needs, sun exposure, and existing health conditions. But the key takeaway is that vitamin D is one of the most important vitamins to get right after 60, not to ignore and not to overdose. Now let's talk about the second vitamin that doctors frequently emphasize for people over 60, and that is vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is absolutely essential for nerve health, red blood cell formation, and brain function. After 60, the risk of vitamin B12 deficiency increases dramatically, and many seniors are deficient without even realizing it. The reason for this is not always a lack of B12 in the diet, but a reduced ability to absorb it. As we age, stomach acid levels often decline, and stomach acid is necessary to release B12 from food. Certain medications commonly used by seniors, such as acid reducers or medications for diabetes, can further interfere with B12 absorption. When vitamin B12 levels are low, the symptoms can be subtle at first. You might feel more tired than usual, notice tingling or numbness in your hands or feet, or feel a bit unsteady when walking. Over time, more serious problems can develop, including anemia, memory issues, confusion, and nerve damage. What makes B12 deficiency particularly dangerous is that nerve damage caused by long-term deficiency may not always be fully reversible. This is why doctors stress early detection and proper supplementation. Vitamin B12 is also closely linked to brain health. Adequate B12 levels help maintain healthy nerve cells and support cognitive function. Low levels have been associated with memory problems and an increased risk of cognitive decline in older adults. Again, this does not mean B12 is a miracle cure, but it is a foundational nutrient that the brain depends on to function properly. Many doctors consider B12 supplementation after 60 to be one of the simplest and safest ways to support nervous system health. Unlike vitamin D, vitamin B12 is water-soluble, which means excess amounts are generally excreted in the urine rather than stored in the body. This makes B12 supplementation relatively safe for most people. However, the form of B12 matters. Some people absorb certain forms better than others, especially if absorption from the stomach is impaired. This is why doctors sometimes recommend sublingual B12, which dissolves under the tongue, or periodic injections in cases of significant deficiency. The goal is not just to take B12, but to ensure your body can actually use it. At this point, you might be wondering why we are focusing only on these two vitamins. What about vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, magnesium, zinc, and all the others? The truth is that many of these nutrients can usually be obtained through a balanced diet, and deficiencies are less common or less dangerous than deficiencies in vitamin D and B12 for older adults. In fact, taking high doses of certain vitamins without medical guidance can increase the risk of interactions, toxicity, or imbalance. For example, excessive vitamin A can affect bone health, and too much vitamin E may increase bleeding risk in some individuals. This is why many doctors recommend a targeted approach rather than a more is better mindset. Another important aspect to understand is that vitamins do not work in isolation. Vitamin D helps your body use calcium, but without enough protein and physical activity, bones and muscles will still weaken. Vitamin B12 supports nerve health, but blood sugar control, physical movement, and mental stimulation also play major roles in maintaining brain function. Supplements should be seen as support tools, not replacements for healthy lifestyle habits. The seniors who age the best are usually those who combine proper nutrition, regular movement, good sleep, social connection, and stress management with smart, targeted supplementation. It is also worth mentioning that before starting any new supplement, especially after 60, it is wise to discuss it with a healthcare professional who knows your medical history. Certain conditions, such as kidney disease, and certain medications may require adjustments in dosage or monitoring. A simple blood test can often reveal whether you are deficient in vitamin D or B12 and help guide safe supplementation. This personalized approach is what doctors mean when they say, "Doctor approved." It is not about blindly taking pills, but about making informed decisions based on real needs. One of the biggest benefits of focusing on just these two vitamins is simplicity. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by endless supplement advice, you can concentrate on maintaining adequate vitamin D and B12 levels and build the rest of your health strategy around whole foods, movement, and regular checkups. This approach reduces confusion, saves money, and lowers the risk of unnecessary side effects. Many seniors report feeling more energetic, steadier on their feet, and mentally clearer once deficiencies in these vitamins are corrected. As you think about your own health, ask yourself a few honest questions. Do you spend much time in the sun, or do you mostly stay indoors? Have you noticed increased fatigue, balance issues, or frequent infections? Do you experience tingling, numbness, or memory lapses that seem unusual? These are not things to panic about, but they are signals worth paying attention to. Often, addressing a simple vitamin deficiency can make a meaningful difference in quality of life. Let me be very clear about one thing.